House Democrats are demanding that Donald Trump show proof that he did not take a $10 million cash bribe from Egypt. In a letter to the former president, Congressman Jamie Raskin and Robert Garcia wrote, "Surely you would agree that the American people deserve to know whether a former president and a current candidate for president took an illegal campaign contribution from a brutal foreign dictator." This comes after a damning Washington Post report from last month. It claims that 5 days before Trump's inauguration in 2017, a bank in Cairo received a letter from the Egyptian intelligence service asking it to withdraw $10 million from its account in U.S. currency and all in cash. The report has not been independently verified by NBC News, but if true, it would certainly help explain Trump's bizarre description of a meeting he took with Egypt's president back in 2016. Watch.
We met for a long time, actually. We had a long meeting and got along. There was a good chemistry there. You know, when you have good chemistry with people, you're the king of that. And there was a very good chemistry, good feeling between us.
Representative Jamie Raskin is calling for an investigation into a huge payment that Donald Trump is alleged to have received from Egyptian President Abdel el-Sisi.
The cash weighed about 200 pounds when it was withdrawn from a state-run bank in Cairo at the request of an organization linked to the Egyptian intelligence service just 5 days before Trump took office as president in 2017. The Post reports Trump earlier gave the same amount to his own campaign, and investigators suspected Trump expected to be repaid by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. But questions about the transaction went unanswered by the Justice Department under Trump's Attorney General Bill Barr, who closed the case, citing, quote, a lack of sufficient evidence, a decision one DOJ official called jaw-dropping.
Reporting from the Washington Post alleges that the Department of Justice, then headed up by Attorney General Bill Barr, conspired to cover up a payment of $10 million from el-Sisi.
He's already saying it's going to be about retribution, and he's a very petty man, and it's all about him. He has a very fragile ego, and something happened to him as a kid, and I'm not going to spend time psychoanalyzing it.
I have to ask you about something that Trump posted about you this week, because he responded in response to you saying you'd vote for the Republican ticket. Wow, former AG Bill Barr, who let a lot of great people down by not investigating voter fraud in our country, has just endorsed me for president, despite the fact that I called him weak, slow-moving, lethargic, gutless, and lazy. Based on the fact that I greatly appreciate his wholehearted endorsement, I am removing the word lethargic from my statement. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. It's classic Trump.
Sisi, who's a friend of mine for now a long time, it seems, right? From even before the campaign. We met during the campaign, a little before the campaign, and we got along right away. I didn't actually ask for an endorsement, but I think if I would have asked, I might have gotten it.
Now, Jamie Raskin is rightly demanding a probe into the alleged payments.
We need to get to the bottom of this. I know that people's eyes glaze over now when they hear about the corruption of Donald Trump, but what we're talking about is a $10 million bribe from a foreign dictator.
These orders were based on the idea of collective guilt, that you could take a terrorist action and then define a whole country as guilty and ban travelers from that country. But think about this for a second. The 19 9/11 hijackers came from Saudi Arabia, from Egypt, and from the United Arab Emirates. And none of them are on Trump's list. Now, why not? Because he's doing business with those countries. Okay, that makes the whole enterprise not only sinister, unconstitutional, and racist, but completely irrational and stupid at the same time.
There's a lot about this that is weird. Bill Barr had been a vocal critic of Donald Trump until he decided to re-ingratiate himself to the Orange Menace. Until a more in-depth investigation is conducted, we can only speculate as to why. But it makes sense that you wouldn't want to piss off someone who could threaten your liberty. I mean, as it is, Donald Trump already acts as if he's a dictator. He thinks that he can silence the press, and he might. He thinks that the law can't touch him because generally it can't. But thankfully, none of that is technically the case, at least not yet anyway, SCOTUS willing. And I don't think it's a stretch to think that a lot of his support is coming from people that are relying on him winning in November to keep both himself, but also them, out of jail. I mean, hell, Roger Stone still owes him for the last pardon.